think this is the first time I'm sitting in front of the camera and I doors up. Because normally my makeup done, my outfit's on point. But I just found like, time and place. There's always time and place for me. I know I've always been an advocate for men and men having voices. That's something I'm very passionate about. And the young man sitting here with me underneath the gazebo, the breeze is nice, we outside, we're in the back, we grounded this afternoon. His name is Daniel. After I heard Daniel's story, I started to call him Daniel in the Lion's Den. This episode is bringing awareness to what takes place in some of our homes, our children's homes. It's bringing awareness to men and their emotions. You all know this is something I'm heavy on. And it's just giving Daniel another platform for him to speak on who he is and why you are how you are. But more importantly, it's reminding those of you all out there that your beginning does not determine your end.
True.
I think I summed it up correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine, good day, by the way.
Yeah, of course, good day.
I'm fine, I'm just coping with life and taking it one step at a time.
When last has someone asked you, how are you, honestly?
That was the interview I had with Dad.
So that would have been
The
last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. How are you? That's an important question,
True.
It's an underrated question also. And it's a question most people don't answer honestly. Agree?
Agree.
I want us to start from who Daniel is now, and then we're going to travel back to some of your traumas, some of your experiences. Let's start there.
Who Daniel is now?
Who Daniel is now.
Well, Daniel is this young man, 27 years of age, who, how I would say it, who has went through a lot in life and been through the depths of hell, I should say, and still came out and still have a right mindset. Daniel is this strong person who just living life strong and just being me despite my past then and not letting that determine my future.
I tell you all, after I finish here and you all listen to this, you all will understand why I have coined him Daniel in the Lion's Den. Daniel, if there's one word you can use to describe your mental state at this point in time, even if it's not one, but a short paraphrase, how would you describe that for us?
I would say searching. Yeah, because as I said, I went through a lot and I'm still trying to search to find out, how to put it, still trying to search to find out my real calling in this life then, but otherwise, I'm searching still.
I've never in my life, and you all know I'm 25 and fine, I've never in my life asked someone to describe themselves or their mental state, and the word searching is what they use to describe it. This is our first. This is our first. No, let's take a moment just to sit in that. How are you? How is your mental? No, I'm searching.
Yeah. I don't know how best I explain it, but
it makes
that's
sense.
the best way
It
to explain
resonates.
it.
It resonates. You want to describe your relationship with yourself and God?
Well, yeah. I have a good relationship with myself per se because I don't want to too much on the past right now, but as I said, I went through so much so that I know where I've been from. I know the hurts I have been through. I know what I have been through, and nobody could tell me that, hey, you lie or you didn't went through that or whatever. I know what I've been through, and for me to come out of that zone and just put my trust in God alone, because really and truly, I'm not here for a purpose, because when we go down into the interview, I will share, but I'm not here for no guess or no makeup thing. I'm here for a purpose in this life, and if it was not for the connection that I had with God and believing in God and all, I doubt I would have been able to sit down here and even have this conversation.
I have met people who traumas have, there's a saying, circumstances made me who I am. And I've met persons whose traumas have turned them into very bitter, closed off, cold-hearted individuals. How come that has not been? You laugh.
No, because he's not the first person that
How
asked the
come
question.
that has not
Been
been
in my situation. Yeah.
your situation?
Well, as I said, it's only God, because a lot of persons who I know who went through similar stuff to me, they couldn't take the pressure. They commit suicide, they use poison, they took their life. And for me to keep fighting, I just say it's a strong mentality, I would say. Once you have a mindset to do good and know where you want in life and know what it is you want, you're going to make it through. Despite all we went through, you're going to make it through.
If you don't take anything from today's session, take that. Daniel grew up in one of our children's homes. In Tagarigua, it's a well-known children's home. Daniel's experience there has been one that when he tells of the things that has been done to him and his brothers and his sisters, we could describe them as that, right?
Yeah.
When he tells of the things that happened to him and his brothers and his sisters, we should begin to question what is society really doing? What is government institutions, people who have the authority to change the dynamic of what is taking place in these places? What are they doing, and also what they are not doing? So many children have to live there until when? 18?
18, sometimes older than 18.
Sometimes older than 18. Many times when you all leave there, are you all ready to go out into society?
I would say honestly, no. Because most of the times, in situations like me and worse, nothing though, I shouldn't say nothing, but nothing wasn't put in place as to our discharge from these homes and stuff. Nothing don't be organized then. On my time, I don't know if it organized now or what, but when I was there, anybody being discharged, it's like, if you had no parents, you had to fend for yourself.
At 18?
Or they will send you to another institution. Yeah, like a hostel or a night shelter.
You spent how many years at the home?
I spent approximately about 16 years at the home before I end up in a scenario where I ran away.
Right. So you don't know your mother and you don't know your father.
No one up to this day.
To this day.
To this day.
Today is what, the 8th of June?
June
2025. And you are 27. Don't know his mom, don't know his dad. If you believe in energy, you can feed off of a person. And the first time I met Daniel, it was 3 weeks ago. And I walked into the studio and I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what his story was about. But his energy was so warm. His demeanor was so calm. And then Daniel started to talk and I'm like, why isn't this young man angry with the world? Why doesn't this young man have hate in his heart and hate in his mind? And as he said, it's the relationship that he created with God. So you were placed in the home from birth.
Months old after
Months
hospital.
old. No mommy, no daddy, no birth paper. Nothing.
Yep.
That experience, tell us about that.
Well, when I started to grow up, it started to affect me because just imagine that your mom just gave birth to you.
And give you away.
And she just, after she pushed you out or C-section, whatever happened, she just, when she was okay, she just picked it up on herself and left you there, walk out. That was my scenario. After birth, my mom just left me there and walk out. And I started to live in the hospital. Months old, from the hospital, they transferred me to the home in Tagarigua. And from then to when I started to know myself, it was like, who is my mom, who is my dad? I even thought at a point in time that the children in the home, all of them was my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
I even thought that the caregivers was my mother and father. I started to think like, so much of mother and father I have, who is the real one? That was my thought at the point in time because I was young. You know, and you just seen all these children, and what started to affect me, what started to hurt me is when other children, parents, used to come and visit them. That is when I started to realize like something was not right. When I see parents coming to visit them children and I saying, but who coming to visit me then?
Yeah.
When I go feel a mother's hug, when I go see my father, my sister, if I have, you know, all those questions was playing with my mental, and how to put it, it just started to take a toll of depression on me at a young age. Yeah, not knowing my parents and just seeing other kids' parents come.
Tell us about the living conditions Because this is a well-known home. Tell us about the living conditions inside of there.
Well, the living conditions is like dormitory settings, right? And sometimes it cramped, sometimes it not cramped. But it's considered a children's home, and a dormitory with young men will have, let's say we'll have 30, 35, 36 young men in it. And a lot of problems because you know you're dealing with other children and stuff.
Different personalities.
Yeah, personalities. But other than that, the conditions, the environment itself is not well put together, but
Kept.
well
well
kept in a
kept.
way. It was comfortable in a way, but just some other scenarios was not making it comfortable. I don't want to reach there yet but some scenarios was not making it comfortable due to staff members then, but the environment itself is a comfortable environment.
So that's 16 years inside the children's home, not knowing your mother, not knowing your father. Thinking that these people here, these are your brothers, these are your sisters, these are your mummies, these are your daddies. Until you started to gain that understanding and you realize, wait, this is not where I belong. I don't even know who I am, who my parents are, where my roots are. And like you said earlier on, knowing and having that feeling of being grounded, it's something that many people shouldn't take for granted, especially after hearing your story. So we go through that process. The baby becomes the boy is becoming a man. You are inside this place. It's not where you want to be, but it's where you have to be.
True.
Things started to happen, right? We just talk about the staff members, things being done to the children inside of there. You decided to take it upon yourself and run away. And from there,
it's all over.
it was all hell from there.
Yeah, it was all
Let's
hell.
dive in.
It was all hell from there. The reason why I say that is because the running away had a reason for me to run away, right? I just want to touch it quick. The reason that I was run away from the home is because I was physically and almost sexually abused. That was the reason why I ran away. And when I ran away, it was like a mistake I took in my life as a juvenile then. But I took a mistake to protect my own self, right? I took a big mistake to protect my own self. And when I ran away, this is when the story flipped from a little bad to worse, because when I ran away, I had nobody to go by. No mom, no dad, no brother, no sister, no friend, nothing.
So where you went?
I literally went to a pavilion in Tameeka, Eddie Savannah. At 13 years old, I am homeless. Right? At 13 years old, I left the orphanage, ran away, packed my bag, and went to the Eddie Savannah. And from then, I started to stay there, started to look for like hustle, started to talk to vendors around and, you know, tell them I want a little job and things, started to run for ice, grocery stuff, clean up the fruit stall, wherever the case may be to make an income to survive. And started to stay out in the Savannah. Many nights I was assaulted, many nights I was robbed out there to the extent where I was stabbed, where my inside came out. While staying out there, I was shot in the process, staying out there also. I was back and forth in hospital. I was bodily picked up and kidnapped, thrown in a trunk, reached to this person's house. I don't know what was the arrangement, but I believe I was going to be sold. And this is the most devastating thing I believe that happened to me that still have me a little traumatized, the kidnapping. Because just imagine you kidnap as a little child, right? Tie up, rope on your foot, rope on your hand, in a trunk. And you sit down on a ground with one set of men with gun, whatever the case may be, and you hear a man saying, hurry up and bring the van. One year, I have a youth man here, hurry up and bring the van. What going on? That was just a mental breaker for me, and that was the incident where I got shot, trying to get up to escape from the premises then. I started to cut the rope off of my hand, and when I realized this one was off, them fellas talking, I just started to untie the next one. And when I see I could have made the move, Tameeka, I did it. I started to run, hit the wall. As I reach up on the wall, I got shot. When I got the first one, I said, nah, doubt I got shot, because I didn't know I got shot. I just heard the loud explosion. It's when I reach over the wall and I drop down, I see blood. I said, nah. Started to run more, got two more, bow, to the front of my, in front here. And same time I run, and I saw a guy coming towards me. So like the guy who saw me jump over the wall, like he told his friends to go out because I escaped. And I run out on the gas station on the Eastern Main Road, just after the primary school on the Eastern Main Road by the Savannah area at Savannah. I collapsed right in that gas station there. And, well, end up in hospital. Police was contacted and stuff. And, yeah, end up in hospital. From the hospital, I discharged myself, as I said earlier on. Came back to area at Savannah and started back over.
You are ward of the states under the age of 18. You ran away from the home. Anybody came looking for you?
No one came looking for me. No one questioned me as to what I'm doing out here, anything like that.
So, there are a couple of things I want to highlight here. Your story may be the story of other young persons who are in our nation's homes. So, I'm just throwing these things out, right? So isn't it the state's responsibility to inquire as to what is happening to a child or children who are wards of the state? Doesn't the state have to conduct checks in these homes to ensure that the children are being well taken care of, emotionally, mentally, physically?
They should, and when I was there, none of this sort was not going on. To the orphanage where I was, I didn't even have a welfare officer at the point in time, or a counselor, or a psychologist, or something of this sort. I didn't even have that at the point in time. So a lot of youths my time and maybe before me have similar stories than me or to me that could share because they didn't have nobody to talk to, didn't have nobody to reach out to at the point in time.
You wanted somebody to talk to?
Somebody to reach out to because of the incidents and the trauma that I've been encountering while I was at the home here. And I just didn't have nobody. Just imagine when the incident happened where I was sexually assaulted. I reached out the welfare department and they told me that they can't do anything about it.
And again, these children are wards of the state. The state is responsible for these children. And I keep saying there are things that we put our energy into that we don't need to put our energy into. Because there are issues that are bigger than you and I put together. There's a child, there's children somewhere who doesn't have a mother, doesn't have a father, doesn't have an aunt, doesn't have an uncle. And their only place to be is in a state's home. And if there are men and women who take this as their job day in and day out, and you get there and you take advantage of innocent children, you are also part of the problem. So when I ask questions like, how can we change our social fabric? It isn't just the gunmen I'm asking about. I'm asking about persons who have portfolios of this kind, and you all take advantage of children.
Disgusting.
No, I am. Yeah, I am. I think that's what I could say. I am.
It's just disgusting to me and all because I thought that they was the ones to protect me. I thought that they was the ones to watch over me. And nurture me in that way until my time ready to leave the home, and it was just a complete opposite of it. It was just the complete opposite. And if I didn't have my head on, I feel I would not make it, but it's only by the grace of God I had my head on and I stayed strong throughout.
And I told you all, it's not just Daniel. He's Daniel in the Lions Den. Daniel, you were stabbed, then you were shot.
3 times. Was stabbed when my inside came out. Was
right.
Shot 3 times.
Right.
Got in a little incident here where the assault man, rough man, I got chopped on my forehead here.
Right.
So I've been through.
After that, because Daniel had nowhere to go, they had to check him in to YTC. Yeah, I said that. Daniel had nowhere to go, he had no family to go to, so the judge told him YTC.
Was the best option.
Was the best option.
Because I ran away from the home, yeah, they sent me to YTC, and that was a breaker point and all for me because knowing what I ran away from the home from, knowing that I told the judge everything what I encountered at the home, being abused, etc., etc., and all the magistrate had in point in time was YTC for 3 years. YTC. No correctional facility, no youth camp, no MyLat, no MyPad, nothing of the sort. Straight YTC with offenders who committing crimes, right, as a juvenile agent. I was sent to YTC for 3 years, first time in front of a magistrate.
What was the charge?
Beyond control was the name of the charge. Beyond control.
I heard it for the first time and I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know that was a
And
charge.
up to this day, I still have that against my name and all, and that is something I need to work on. But beyond control was the name of the charge.
So we're in YTC. We have been sent to YTC for 3 years. The charge is beyond control, correct?
Correct.
There's nowhere else for you to go. The state decided that we're going to put you inside there for 3 years. Right. I've never in my entire life, I'm being honest with you, hear a story of this magnitude. So we get inside there, we're exposed to a different culture. Tell us about it.
Well, as I said, I was sent to YTC for running away from the home. I was sent there for 3 years, right? And it was the 3 years more difficult in my life than anything, but I made it through. And the reason I said this is because when I was sent to YTC, my first 4 days in YTC it was like I was going to die, honestly saying, because I went to YTC with my wounds, what I got from the outside, being shot and stuff, right? And when I went in there, it was completely infected. Where I got sick, I was cold sweating, I was vomiting blood in between my vomit, and I almost died in my first 4 days of being at YTC. Had to be transferred to the infirmary department where they kept me for about a month or two for me to heal up and catch myself and then transfer back to the general population. Right, so just to fast forward, reaching the general population, you call it now, is like a dormitory setting. Right, the dormitory setting have about 35 young men at my point in time when I was there. It had 35 young men in it. And these 35 young men is persons who allegedly do crime then. They was not sent for beyond control. I was the only person in YTC at the point in time for beyond control. So I, amongst other young men who commit robbery, firearm offenses, attempted murder, etc., you name it. Right, I was mixed and mingling with everybody else. Right, and the setting in there is like a bed, a ground. When I mean ground, you're sleeping on the ground. Right, so you're on a bed, a man on a ground. A bed here, the ground. A bed, a ground. That's how the settings was. Right, you're locked away 23 hours a day. Right, 23 hours a day locked away. 1 hour alone you're outside. The meals was, how to put it, was not consumable for humans, I should say, but it is what it is, and I eat it and made it through. I had a lot of ups and downs in my first year there because I was like a lost goat. I was like a lost sheep amongst the rest. In terms where I say this is because, as I said, I don't have no mom, no dad, no brother, no sister, no family support, no kind of support to support me while I'm in YTC or to show me that support. So I was literally like a destitute in YTC. That's what you call it, a destitute, right? And started to do through my first set of months, a year reach. When the year reach, I say, nah, but I can't do this 3 years and ain't do nothing with myself. Or ain't do nothing then. I just can't sit down for this 3 years. And this is when I started to take a proactive method with my life and started to talk to officers around, and I ended up reaching in front of the superintendent at YTC, which was Mr. Canterbury at that point in time. Started to speak to him and stuff, and I let him know my situation, where I came from, the home, etc. And I really want to do something. I just don't want to sit down here and waste my time. And he told me, Mr. Canterbury told me that I was the first young man came to him and told him that. And he said, since you tell me that I'm going and give you the opportunity, just don't let me down. And his words like it fell on my shoulder, and I just chest it and take it. As he told me that, I said, boss, you just give me one try and you'll see. And that was it. I was given an opportunity to do school leaving. I did school leaving at YTC, where I completed my 3 subjects, maths, English, and science. I got an A in. After that, I completed a youth parliament course where I represent Trinidad in the 15th National Youth Parliament in 2018. I sit down in the parliament, went, yeah. And then after that, I started to do sports. I started to run and stuff. Started to train for a marathon, an international marathon, running from St. Mary's Junction in Freeport by the gas station, running straight to Port of Spain by the Whitehall. I came 4th overall in an international marathon after the first time I run. After that, the marathon, I started to do mentoring. Not really mentoring, but just like motivational speaking, mentoring when CCC come and visit at YTC and
Right.
schools, etc. I was a part of the team where just carrying them around, toying them around and talking to them, sharing my experience in the home, what caused me to be at YTC, you know, deterring them from coming in then. And I did that for a couple of months until the 28th of September, where I was discharged from YTC. But I didn't use YTC as a breaker point for me. In the early, as I said, I had a lot of ups and downs, but I didn't use it as a breaker point for me. I just used it in the best opportunity that I could.
Again, it is the hub and Daniel in the Lions Den. And sometimes we sit and we think that we have the world on our shoulders. And then somebody else opens their mouth and you tell yourself, hey, I ain't have a third of what that person is going through. And life has a way of teaching us to be thankful and grateful and to be humble. And life has a way of reminding us that it's important to share our stories because stories and experiences have a way of impacting the lives of others.
I agree with that.
And that's why I have been doing this. That's why I have been doing this. Your story is my story. My story is your story. And as Daniel sit next to me, this is not the first time I'm hearing his story, but the emotions are there. Again, it's fresh, it's raw. Because I have so many questions. I have the saying where I tell men to protect their pockets, but I tell women to protect their wombs. Because it's unfair to bring a child into the world and you are unable to care for that child. I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair for bringing that youth into the world and you cannot care for that child and that child has to fend for themselves. But we are sitting here with Daniel and Daniel is showing us that there's always light at the end of every storm.
When someone feel they're going through bad, have somebody out there going through worse.
Your experience in YTC, what would you tell boys to deter them from going into that establishment?
No, that is a very good question that I would like to answer. No, because a lot of young men out there, they thinking that YTC is going to be comfortable with flat screen TV and cushion and nice lavish lunch, and it's none of the sort what you think you're going to expect. It's none of the sort. YTC is a locked away juvenile detention center where they lock you away for 23 hours a day in a dormitory setting. Right? If you're on remand and you're still going to court, you have nothing to do. You're just locked away whole day. If you're convicted, they will enroll you in programs and stuff. Right? But YTC is not a place to be young people because just imagine, right? You're locked away 23 hours a day in a cell. 1 hour alone, you're under the sunlight. After that, you're going back in your cell for the rest of the day. You don't know when it's morning, evening, noon, and night unless you ask the officer what is the time. You don't know when you're going to get a visit. If you have no family support like myself, don't do no crime to go in there because you're going to be a destitute in there, right? When you all think that you're all fighting in school and you all are the big badder bullies, in there it have more big badder bullies than you. Trust me when I say that. Because in there it have no knife, it have no weapon, it have nothing for you to defend yourself with. You have to defend yourself with the two hands. And you're bullying young ones out there and feel that when you're going there, no, you will be getting bullied when you're going there. Trust me when I say that. Right? So I urge you to just think about them few things because you rather somebody tell you when to bathe, when to get up, when to go and eat, when to go and use the toilet, when to do this, when you rather somebody do that for the rest of your life or until for a couple of years. No, it is an uncomfortable feeling. For somebody to be on your back right through, directing your life when you know that you could direct your own life. And the reason why I say directing your life is because what I now say, they're telling you when to do, how to do, what to do, anytime, any day, and you have to comply, otherwise you will feel it. Simple to say. So I just urging you all to just stay out. Stop doing your foolishness, especially the young ones that fighting in school. It don't make no sense, trust me.
There's this song, I think it's Richie Spice, and it says, say the most I Jah deliver me.
Yeah.
Right? And you are talking to me, and that is in my head. Because this has to be a story of deliverance. This has to be a story of you had a purpose. Even when you didn't even know
No.
you had a purpose.
True.
Who named you?
I have no idea.
Wow.
honestly.
Who named you? I have no idea. And the name that somebody gave to you, it was Daniel.
Daniel, on my birth paper also.
So tell me that is not alignment. That is not purpose before you even know it was purpose. We leave YTC, we have no mommy to go home to, we have no daddy to go home to, we have nowhere to go. How did you maneuver that transition?
Wow, it was a very, very difficult one and a very trying decision because, as I said, leaving YTC on the 28th of September and in 2020, I literally didn't have nobody to go by, no avenues to go to. I was not directed to any organization, anyone. So it was just like me from the beginning before I end up in YTC then, back on the streets. And I wouldn't have no shame in saying that I left YTC and spent one day in Macoya grounds. When I left YTC, I didn't even know how to travel. I walked from YTC straight out to the Eastern Main Road.
All I know that distance. Stop. All you know that distance. YTC is the highway.
Grove Road, yeah.
And that this young man walked from there
Straight
to the
out to the
Eastern Main Road. Go ahead, son.
Yeah, after I make that walk, well, I left YTC with about 9,000 something in cash, right? So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to travel because it's from the orphan home straight to there. I was never on a maxi before, right? So when I walked from YTC to the main road, I saw a red maxi something looking coming on the main road. I just push out my hand because I saw a lady standing up there. I just follow her too. She put her hand, so I just put my hand too, and I see the maxi stop. And the maxi stop, I didn't even tell the driver nothing. I went in the maxi, I went down to about, it's a small maxi, I went down to about the middle seat, and just sit down. When I was going on the main road, I realized I by Tagarikwa, by Eddie at Savannah. I say, right.
Familiar ground.
Yeah. I say, right, the next Savannah is Macoya ground. So I tell myself I'm not going Tagarikwa because I have all this money. I just came out of YTC.
And you have your experiences from there also.
Yeah, and I tell myself I'm not going back. The next thing somebody really try and rob me this time and kill me. I said, nah, I'm going down Macoya. First day I come out of YTC, I pass Eddie Street. When I reach Macoya, I press the bell, I get the driver 100. I didn't even know how much change I was to expect. I just walk out of the maxi. Driver calling me, I tell him, go ahead. Reach Macoya, sit down.
Big boy moves a big money, right?
Nah, you just don't know. Right, but when I reached Macoya, I went to the pavilion in Macoya, I rested on my bag, and you see how I say down here? Just so I say, and I had my hand on my face. So. And I started to rub my face as to what it is I am going to do. What is my next move from here? Right? And at that point in time, literally, I started to cry. Knowing that reality hit me is just me and me alone out here now. It have no institution to give me no meals. It have no dormitory to go into, nothing like that. It was just me and me out there. So I started to cry, being honest. And I was like a little scared because I didn't know what to do. And I said, Daniel, nah, you had to be bigger than this. I slept the night out in Macoya. I didn't keep my money and my time and money in a bag and throw it by a little garbage bin to make it look like garbage. And in the morning I went back for it because I put it under the garbage bag. In the morning I went back for it, I take a bathe in Macoya grounds, and the next morning I started to be proactive. I walked from Macoya straight to Tunapuna by Digicel. I went and buy a phone. After I buy the phone, same time I buy the phone, a lady buy the phone for me and she buy a SIM card. So she buy the SIM card, she buy the phone for me, and I buy a phone card for myself, and I buy a newspaper. After I buy that, I went back to Macoya and I started to go through the papers because while I was at YTC, I used to read the papers and I seen people have apartments.
Yeah, the ads.
I used to see apartments in the back. So that is how I tell myself I go get somewhere to stay. Went back in Macoya and I went through the papers. I saw an apartment for about 1,500, no down payment. I call the number, the person tell me I come through. As I went, I see the place, I say I stay in 110. I get the 1,500 and from then I started to stay there. Right, the place was in St. Augustine. I started to stay there, and from then I started to catch myself in a way. How to put it? Job work was very, very, very difficult. Knowing that I just came out of YTC, no documents in terms of no ID card,
no birth
paper, nothing. I was just like a lost sheep in Trinidad. You know, so job was real hard to get. I ended up begging a woman from a security firm to give me a job doing security as a watchman in a car park. That is how I started off. Started to work there, started to build myself, started to save, pay my rent, started to buy my little stuff and stuff. From there, what I started to do, well, from that job, I ended up spending about 3 months doing the security job. And from there, I ended up leaving that, and I started to do event security with our company, where anytime we have party and fete and yeah, we go and cover the event. And I worked with them for a couple of, about 2 years, sorry. About 2 years, and doing the events, I had to catch myself and stuff. And while working events, I started to get my documents, and in terms of my ID card, my passport, my birth paper, I started to do that for myself.
Yeah.
I started to walk around by places, ask questions.
Yeah.
I started to make moves for myself, and as I received all my documents, I went to the landlady actually for the thing where they started open for a bank account, a proof of address.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that to open my bank account. That was the only thing I needed to get this job, you know. And when I got my bank account, I leave from the event company and started to work in a maintenance company then, because I love to do landscaping, trimming plants, pruning. I don't know what about it, but
You
I just like
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just love it. I could see a tree and have a scissors and make that as a heart shape or something. Yeah, I just love to do those things. You know, and I started to gravitate towards that, and from then to now, I'm still doing my maintenance stuff. That is just my only little gig right now because of, as I said, having this record against my name beyond control charge. Being in YTC for 3 years is like a conviction on my name. So work is hard for me to get at the moment, but I'm doing the maintenance stuff as a, you know, as a surviving skill right now.
Well, from my mouth to God is, I hope that somebody sees this, the right person sees this, and we can be guided accordingly as to how we can rectify this particular issue. I'm sitting next to a young man whose spirit is very warm. He's determined. He's against the odds. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
He's against the odds. He goes against the tide. And that's a message for many of us, whenever you all see this, whatever time frame, whatever phase of your life you are in. Go against the tide. Don't let the tide take you. I am sitting here with so many emotions, and it's coming from a place where I am passionate for men and being able to express themselves. But I'm also passionate for persons who don't have a voice for themselves. And if that means you and I have to be the voice for voiceless people, then that's exactly what we are going to do. Because you are rare. And I say you are rare is because this is a man who does not know his mother, his father, and somebody had to give him a name, and they gave him Daniel. And if you are anything like me and you believe that we are human beings having spiritual experiences, you will understand that his purpose was already written. So I'm asking that this falls in the hands of someone who can rectify this problem that Daniel is currently facing. So this young man can continue to grow, can continue to thrive, can continue to become everything that Daniel needs to become. I'm real proud of you, friend. And I like to tell you, I've heard so many stories where people have had more than what you have, and they still haven't made anything of themselves. They have all the excuses in the world, all the complaints in the world. They have a plaster for every sore. And you are sitting here with us and you're sharing your experience and you're reminding us that once you have the ability to be, you can become anything that you want to become.
I just always tell people, don't ever let your past determine your future. And that's one of the biggest things that will always stick to me. Because I know I've been through, and I just always say that I will never let my past determine my future. And that is why I'm sitting here today, because I never let it, and I will never let it determine my future.
Let's talk about mommy.
Mommy, I wish that day will come where I find my mother. Yes, I'm being honest. Yeah. I wish that day will come. I told myself, you know, I'll give up. But person's encouragement to still look for her, or still make the effort. And I'm willing to make that little effort again and try. But there's a space in my heart that needs to be filled concerning my mom, yeah. Despite what was the reason that she did what she did, I feel that as a person went through enough to forgive her for what she did. Because I reached too far in my life to still have a grudge against her, or still had a bad mind of what she did. I don't know what was the reason, but I reached too far to go through all what I go through to still have a hate for her, no. I just want the time, if she could listen to this, I just want the opportunity or the time way before I die, I could see my mom or at least get a little motherly hug from her, you know, see my mother face to face.
Well, let me get a hug, boy. If nobody, let me get a hug, boy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That is just a longing moment for me, being honest.
Daniel has searched for his mom. Daniel has. Daniel went to the hospital. Daniel asked people in the hospital for his birth records. Daniel was given information. Daniel took himself to the address that he was given. Daniel got to the village of where his mommy used to be.
So in the bush.
People acknowledged that yes, she was here. Yes, she gave birth to a boy. But nobody has any present day information about Daniel's mommy. Daniel is the child that we all are. Doesn't matter how old you get. It doesn't matter what experiences you have in this life. There's something about our mommies.
Yeah, well,
There's something about our mommies.
despite what? And the reason why I say I'm willing to make the extra effort is because when I was making the effort in the earlys, I went through a lot of depression and hurt, and I started to take a toll on me. So that's why I give up. But I'm willing to make a next move and try harder because I'm feeling that I'm old enough and I'm wise enough to make the more wiser moves than the couple of years that I missed.
So from my mouth to God's ears again, if anybody sees this, anybody has some sort of information about Daniel's mommy, could you please share it with us? So that's two things we taken from my mouth and sending to God's ears today on this Sunday afternoon. What is your biggest struggle at this point?
Two things. Two things is my biggest struggle, and it will always, one will always be until I get a closure with it. That is the situation. My mom, every day I wake up, I just always pray, I just always ask God, you know, down to the video and all what I did on the interview on with Mr. God. I just always say to God, from that day, I just always say that I pray my mother could see that and, you know, reach out. And that is one of the biggest, how to put it, like breakers or fears, I should say. You know, and the next one is unemployment. That is our next one. But other than that, I am well.
Daniel, how you do it? Like, how do you really do it?
As I say, God, because I don't know how others do it. It's hard to explain, but God has just direct me. I don't ever plan anything. I just go with the flow. Yeah, I'm that kind of person. If I had to do something next week, I will just, means of planning for it. I will just go through my days until that day come and just go and do what. I just go with the flow.
You consider yourself blessed then?
Yeah.
And guided?
Not in a way. I know I'm blessed and I consider myself blessed because just for me to reach where I am today and despite all I've been through, this is not my guess.
What is one thing you want to tell that young person, whether it's male or female, who is at the juncture in their life right now where everything feels as though the world is against them? What is one thing you'd like to tell them?
Hold on. Ride the wave. Don't let the wave ride you. Ride the wave. You see the wave coming, you ride it. You surf on it. And hold on to your surfboard. Don't let go. Because if you let go, that come like you give up. I didn't give up. I fight it through. And I still sit down here with a right head, my 5 senses. No mental disorder, no breakdown, nothing of the sort. And I held it through. And you can't do it alone. You have to put God in it. Forget mankind, forget your friends. Put God in it because, honestly speaking, that is my only friend. Right now, God. So once he's not in it, you wouldn't be successful. He had to be in it for it to happen then.
Your story is my story, and my story is your story. And I really hope that everything we sat here this afternoon and we exchanged with each other and we placed it out into the atmosphere, right? That it reaches somewhere and you happen to impact from it. And you happen to impact somebody else who needs to hear this. Because Daniel, you are my human form of Daniel in the Lions Den. And I sit here and I tell mummies and I tell that I will tell mummies and I will tell daddies that our children need to be protected by any means necessary. And if for some reason you are you are working in an establishment where you need to take care of people's children, I'm asking you, please do so with the kindness of
your heart.
intentions. I'm also asking those in authority, please check into establishments that are receiving from the government's pocket. Please check into these establishments. Children are innocent.
Very.
They don't ask to come here. But when they come here, they need to be protected. I'm telling men also, find a safe space. Talk to somebody. Be a Daniel. Take your trials and turn them into triumphs. As always, it's love, it's light, it's the hub, and it's Daniel in the Lion's Den. Body,
Blessings.
body.